Good afternoon. The championship running is well and truly underway. Just 2 points separate Holland Racing Team's Yannis Walborn and Epic Basilia's Philip Pushka, with 3 other drivers still with an outside chance of challenging. This afternoon, one of those outside challengers, Reuven Meshida, is looking to become the first driver in WMSC history to win 3 in a row. Max for who? Not forget about it. This is where it's at. Welcome to round 11 of the World Monoposto Sim Racing Championship 2023 from Silverstone, Great Britain. I'm Ash Baker, and I'll be your commentator this afternoon, after Robin Schumann did an excellent job commentating solo at the last round, and not for the first time, might I add. It's only fair that I give it a go. Robin is currently enjoying himself poolside. Thank you to everyone who's about to join me trackside. So, round 11, we have 5 rounds to go. The running is underway. So, let's have a look and see what the weather is doing in Great Britain. And it's quite kind and calm for Great Britain. You can also say it's relatively accurate. It's been unseasonably warm, and as ever, WMSC issues this forecast ahead of each race based on the statistical data of the location in the respective month and was prepared by a neutral person. So, no rain this afternoon, but overcast and cloudy in qualifying, mostly cloudy in the race, so should be okay for managing tyre temps and engine temps. Before we get into the track, let's have a look at the drivers' standing. So as I mentioned in the intro, Yannis Walborn and Philip Pushka, just 2 points separating them after Yannis Walborn failed to score for the first time all season back in Portimao. Pascal Polens, Max Riedmuller and Reuven Meshida, all with an outside chance, although there is some updates about one of those 3 coming up in the race, and Reuven Meshida, of course, the man looking to go 3 in a row for the first time in WMSC history. Lucas Murno could have been on the podium for the first time, if not for a late engine failure, but he's still hunting 6th. Heading up Dylan Fisher, who's been in absolutely brilliant form, along with ahead of Alexander Hess, Denny Vella, and Gustavo Fricoto rounding out the top 10. In the Constructors, Holland Racing Team are pretty comfortable, it's fair to say. Epic Basilia heading up the charge in 2nd, but Optimal very much hunting them down. Meshida and Fisher having on fine form, and they're looking to very much overhaul them. Maniti Racing in 4th, SCMM in 5th, Infernal Void trying to take the charge. They could still get a top 5, and they're in 6th. Better Giulio in 7th, Scuderia Cesario in 8th, while Costec and Potenza, the only remaining teams yet to score points, both present today, hoping to get some points on the board. And with that, let's jump to qualifying. Cars already out on track, about to start their flying laps. 20-minute session, and we're immediately with the championship leader, Yannis Walborn, determined, very much I'm sure, to get back on form this afternoon with some points. It'll be interesting because, you know, the outstanding strength of Holland Racing Team's car is their straight line speed, how quick they are, and this is a very fast track, but there's also sections that rely quite heavily on downforce. There's lots of fast sweeping corners, so it's interesting to see how they go. Optimal have now developed a package that seems to compete with Holland's, so we'll see how well they do together. It was looking early form that it was going to be Meshida versus Polens for the win today. Pascal Polens has been, you know, putting fine performances throughout the season, but is yet to win a race. Could today be the day for him? The Yannis Walborn going purple throughout, but obviously might be one of the first, if not the first, to get a time on the board. One chicane to go, and let's see what the first benchmark is. Remember, they start this session with fuel for the race as well, so they will be burning off fuel and getting quicker and quicker. And the benchmark is a 1 minute 28.6. Janezovic just half a second down behind. Dylan Fisher immediately putting down a marker, 128.4. Meshida, 28.3. In the meantime, Lucas Murno, purple in the first sector. Going through Maggots and Beckett's. Incredible changes of direction while maintaining the speed. Down the hanger straight, only Green in the middle sector. He's down by 0.4 of a second. Philip Pushka, the main man bringing the challenge in the title now, 6th. So it'll be very interesting to see how well he does today. Very much as much a battle of consistency and point scoring as it is just getting on the top step this season. Lucas Murno jumps in at 5th, a solid first lap for him. And here we join Victor B. So Victor B is the 3rd driver of the season to drive for 2 different teams. So he made his debut last time out for Better Julia as a substitute and managed to score a point on his debut. And he's now been snapped up by Gino Gagiano, initially for Potenza. He was going to drive for Potenza alongside Mateus Machado today. Mateus Machado, the 4th driver of the season to drive for 2 different teams. And they were going to be teammates this afternoon, but unfortunately, Gino Gagiano not able to race this afternoon and is actually going to return to help Potenza for the rest of the season, with Victor B joining SCMM not only for the rest of this season, but also for 2024. So a fine debut for Victor B has resulted in a full-time drive. So we'll see how he gets on this afternoon. And then Mateus Machado features as a substitute earlier in the season for Costech. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on now for Potenza Esport. Very interesting race last time out. End of the summer holiday, so has had some absences. We're obviously a new and burgeoning series. So obviously he's trying to get people on board at this point. People, spending their time to practice and race, and sometimes, life happens. They're not able to do it, but we've been able to have a solid turnout for pretty much most of the races all season long. And even still, despite the fluctuating changes in numbers and driver lineups, we managed to get, more often than not, really interesting races. And last time was absolutely no exception. In fact, it all went a bit haywire in the final third of the race. Yanis Walbon there. 3rd. Keeping the pressure on the 2 Optiminals, Pascal Polans. He missed last time out, but is back and hoping to charge forward, but not an improvement there. So track temperatures are relatively low, especially low compared to last weekend, or the previous weekend, I should say, in Portimao. Down by about 5 to 7 degrees. So high temp's not going to be an issue, but obviously it's still a very track that's very heavy on tyre wear because of those fast sweeping corners. Lots of corners pushing the limits of grip as Denny Vella, the 7th, just ahead of Paolo Willami. Join him on board. Down the Wellington straight we go. Flashing yellow in sector 1. It seems to have been cleared very quickly. He must have been very much ahead of that. Into Brooklands. A long sweeping right-hander of Luffield. Power down as soon as we can. Through Woodcut, past the old start-finish complex. Hang it all out through Copse. And then into Maggots and Beckett's. Tremendous amounts of grip through here. Oof, he just throws it through Beckett's into Chapel. Going to be an improvement, but he's down by half a second. At the minute, he's 1.4 away in his previous best, so this should bump him up the table a little bit, potentially up, depending on his final sector, into maybe the top 5. Let's see what he can do. Now straightened up out of club. Head towards the line. And it's as good as 6th for now, so a little improvement there. Filip Puška, in the meantime, on a very good lap across the line, and he's up to 4th, getting himself back in the picture. Very important afternoon for him. Paolo Wallami for Scuderia Cesario here. Great to see Scuderia Cesario with a consistent lineup. Alexander Knežević, again one of the 2-team drivers of the season. He was a substitute for Better Julia back in Monaco. Now snapped up to drive for Scuderia Cesario alongside Paolo Wallami. Good to get the consistency. Scuderia Cesario have had more drivers than anyone else this season. They've had a total of 7 people behind the wheel for them. So it's good to get some consistency. Although there's an interesting stat that in terms of driver partnerships, no driver partnership has lasted more than 2 races. Roy Seifert and Lorenzo Turi drove 2 races together. Bar Carpetta and Max Heyman drove 2 together. Carpetta and Wallami drove 2 together. This is the second between Wallami and Knežević. But hopefully we do see them again next time out at Monza. But it's good to get consistency for them. Knežević, a great 5th place on his debut for the team. Hopefully he can build on that as well. Currently in 6th, ahead of Lucas Murno. Going green again in the first sector as we fly through. What a great view this is. Brooklands and Luffield. One of my favourite tracks in the calendar. I think it's many people's favourite tracks. Its speed, it's a track that's changed a lot over the years, but still very much kept its ethos intact of being a quick, fun, challenging circuit. In the meantime, Murno up to 4th. Good improvement for him. Season best 3rd in qualifying and seemed to be on for 3rd in the race until that late engine failure as Knežević comes to end his lap. 2 improvements, about half a second down after 2 sectors. Here we go, heads towards the line. And Volbon goes quickest in the meantime. Knežević goes up by 1, but that is a huge time for Yanis Volbon. 1 minute 28.1. Up by 2 hundredths right the first time. 200ths of a second over Ruben Meshida. The math is not mathing this afternoon. Going Mateus Machado on his 2nd race of the season, but his debut for Potenza Esports. But this team only came in halfway through the season. They only first appeared at round 8 out of the ashes of Streamline Engineering. See what they can do, see what they can salvage out of this season. Very much gives you the ilk of like the plucky back markers of the early 90s, like a 40 or a Pacific. Not expecting much, but wanting them to do well. Machado staying 14th. Still time to improve, about 8 minutes left in qualifying. And Ruben Meshida now, can he improve? Very fine margins between him and Volborn. Just imagine if Ruben Meshida had started the season for Optimal, coming in from round 5 onwards, and has been fantastic, and his form is just peaking at this very moment. 2 wins coming into this event. Could he make it 3 in a row? We've got 2 3-time winners already this season. Yanis Volborn being one, Max Riedmuller being the other. None of them have done 3 in a row. Puška's won 2, Meshida's won 2. And those are your 4 different race winners this season. It seems weird to think that Pascal Polans hasn't. He's always been there or thereabouts. Meshida's gone quickest in the middle sector, charging towards the line out of club. Is this going to be an improvement? It is. He's now 3/10 up, but there's time to reply. They're burning off fuel all the time during this session. They'll want to get as many laps in as they can. Filip Puška now looking to improve. What's this going to be? Stays where he is. Final sector, not an improvement. About half a second. Having a look through chat, thanks to everyone who's joined us this afternoon. Us being me and the voices in my head. And Robin here from the poolside. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good holiday. Hope we have an exciting race this afternoon for you. Silverstone usually does deliver. Seems quite close between the performance of Holland Racing Team and Optimal this afternoon. This lap not an improvement though for Pascal Polens. Okay, never mind. Yes, it is an improvement. Great final sector for him after being down in the first two. Let's hope he can try and pull a lap together. He's back in the top 5 ahead of Philip Pushka. But everyone's going to be thinking in these last 5 minutes about timing their laps with the least amount of fuel they can have on board to get a flyer in. Here comes Denny Vella. Heads towards the line and no improvement there. Personal improvement, but doesn't manage to gain him any places. Aaron Curtis for Infernal Void. Also not looking like this is going to be much of an improvement. And 1 place ahead of Philip Feckler. No, now on a charge. So up only just by around a 10th in the first 2 sectors. Out of club he comes. Charging towards the line. Down by half a second. That final sector causing him some problems. You have to think about the design philosophy of these cars, where it might be affecting them, where it might be helping them. Worth noting that most teams brought smaller upgrades across the board. However, there is one notable upgrade, and this for Holland Racing Team. They've upgraded their DRS for this race. Brought quite a sizable update for it. How important could that be this afternoon? Lamy now out of club. Stays 10th. Lots of people improving on their times in the first couple of sectors, but down in the final one. Aaron Curtis hoping to maybe break that. No, into the pits. This must be the final run for tyres before setting the final laps. Get some fresh rubber on. Fuel is as low as it's going to be. Could be time for 1 or 2 laps. No time left remaining. Yannis Volborn in the hunt for pole position once again against Ruven Mestre at the minute in an optimal sandwich. You could do with Pascal Polens getting up along with them, so he's got some backup. The minute Lucas Murno, as ever, who's improved solidly throughout the season, is right in there. And now is as good a time as ever before it starts getting heated in this qualifying session to mention that Lucas Murno is sadly not going to be with Infernal Void next season. It was announced just after the race in Portimao. No reason given. Don't know if he's going off to another team, but it seems that Lucas Murno will not be driving for Infernal Void Racing next season. It's a real shame. He's been a fan favourite throughout. I think he still is a fan favourite, even though he may not be driving for Infernal Void next season. But he's been superb. On a point-scoring run that started in Bahrain. Oh, and Yannis Volborn in to pick up some tyres. It said he was on an out lap then, so I don't know if that was maybe a timing issue because he'd had a track limits thing, or if he needed to pop in for something, or has done something to his tyres, but it seems a very interesting time to go back in. Should be able to get out in time and get another lap done. This is what we're expecting. We're expecting the final push now. Maybe it's a track position thing. Maybe he wants to have the final say. He wants to know the marker that Ruven Mestre is putting down. So, through Village and the loop. Power slowly applied. Out through Aintree onto the Wellington Straight. Got a better Julia right behind him, trying to benefit maybe from a bit of slipstream. Into Brooklands we go. like a very tidy lap so far. We're going to get very hectic now through Copse. You throw it into the corner and trust the car is coming with you. If that's not enough, you've got to do it again through Maggots and Beckett's. See how smooth the turn is into Beckett's. Very, very smooth indeed. Very nicely done. Fortunately, the times are not there for Reuven, though. So unless he's just on an outlap trying to... he's waiting for the last second to have a final flying lap. Maybe he's just trying to disguise what pace he's got. Everyone just playing their cards close to their chest until the very last second, trying to give no one a right to reply. Everyone who's crossing the line now, though, will be starting their final lap of qualifying. Aaron Curtis green in the first two sectors. Will they improve? Let's see. Not an improvement. The final sector again proving difficult. Victor B. Time is up. So everyone crossing the line now. This is the final chance. Victor B managed 8th in qualifying on his debut. 9th at the minute. He's had a slow middle sector, down by 7/10 of a second. He exits club and charges towards the line. Can he get himself into the top 8 once again? No, he stays 9th. But not bad. Chance to get into the points from there. Reuven Meshter, though, down by just over 1,000th of a second. He's down by 6,000ths of a second. At the minute, it's on himself, though. Question is Yannis Volborn out there and improving? And Meshter bails out. Doesn't even attempt to go quicker. But Yannis Volborn is up by 1/10 of a second. Down by 600ths of a second. Just a few corners to go into Stowe. This could be really very close indeed. Through Vale, hard onto the brakes. It looks nice and tidy. Power down, out through club. Is this pole position for Yannis Volborn? It is by 100th of a second. Oh, sorry, in the final sector, but 900ths of a second overall. He has nicked pole position from Reuven Meshter at the death. Should Meshter have stayed out to complete the lap and see what it was doing, but what an incredible lap at the very end. Lucas Murno, in the meantime, 4th place. Is this going to be an improvement for him? It is personally, but he stays where he is. Well, a very, very cagey end to that session. Was expecting laps to be flying left, right and centre, but in the end it was about waiting just to try and time it, it seemed. No one really wanted to reveal their hand. Meshter decided to bail out. And Yannis Volborn is on pole position for Silverstone, and that could be vital indeed. But he is going to be up there alone, as his teammate is only down in 6th. And it looks like, I believe everyone has finished their laps now. I think he is going to be alone up the top. So he's going to have 2 optimal esports cars right with him. Provisional grid. Yannis Volborn on pole from Reuven Meshter and Dylan Fisher. Lucas Murno, another fine qualifying performance in 4th. Paolo Walami, an excellent 5th in the Scuderia Cesario. Poland's will be slightly disappointed in 6th. Philip Pushka, the main championship rival, not able to make a dent, a second off Volborn. Hopefully he can pick up something in the race. Alexander Knezovic in the other Cesario, rounding out the top 10. Great to see 2 Cesarios in the top 8. Really good recovery for their season. Daniel Benson-Reader is 9th, while Victor B on his debut for SCMM is 10th. So still good chance for them to get some points from there. Denny Vella is 11th, Aaron Curtis 12th. Philip Feckler just ahead of Mateus Machado. The 2 teams trying to get their first points of the season. While Jeffrey Fournier doesn't set a time and will start 15th. So, an interesting qualifying session. I feel like everyone just slightly not putting it all out on the line just yet. It's going to be warmer for the race, so times are going to get quicker and quicker as we go. It's a fantastic circuit with plenty of places for overtaking. So we promise for a very interesting race indeed. Can Ruven Meshida make it 3 in a row? Can Philip Pushka recover to try and get in the championship fight? Or will Yanis Wellborn recover? We'll see you very shortly for the race.
Five red lights are on, and we're off at Portimao, and it seems to be a very good start from Dylan Fisher. He already has taken the lead, or kept the lead from Ruven Meshida. Oh, Yanis Wellborn running right through turn one. Murno dropped down to 5th already, and into the first heavy braking zone they go. There is a bit of a contact between B and I believe it was Gustavo Frigoto. Knezovic dropped down. Oh, these Scuderia Cesarios in 11th and 12th already. What has happened to Knezovic? We will see a replay. Very interesting battle. Victor B still spraying smoke on everyone. Now it has stopped. Aaron Curtis in the background. The smoke has also stopped. Gagliano tries it around the outside of turn one. Backs out of it, and I think that is the wise thing to do, but there is opportunity for Jeffrey Fournier down the inside of turn 3, and he moves past, and now this is the chance for Aaron Curtis as well. So plenty of action here on the opening laps. Meshida is leading this race. Wellborn is not getting DRS anymore from Philip Pushka, and Lucas Murno is super close. He might try something into turn one. It's a late move there by Yanis Wellborn. I believe Murno won't be too happy with that. Oh, that... I complained that it was a very late move by Yanis. Gets another replay, and this is the overtake between Meshida and Fisher, and well, at least Fisher is not defending it. It looks like he's letting him through. It's again a bit closer to Yanis Wellborn, whose rear wing still remains short. He ran a little wide there through turn one. This might be an opportunity. Wellborn defends the inside. Murno side-by-side contact between the two, and now this might be an opportunity. Side-by-side, Wellborn runs Murno right. They both go wide. Oh, this is another situation, race direction. Surely we'll have a look, and remember, Yanis Wellborn has been warned already for the incident on the start-finish straight when moving too late. Maybe a quick reminder. Oh, this is Aaron Curtis. We've seen them round a couple of times. Them round a couple of times, and now they seem to be completely out of this race. They crashed into the wall. I can't see where exactly that is. That will be interesting. Maybe we'll see a slow zone or virtual safety car under acceleration out of Samsung over the hill. Very close to Jeffrey Fournier, and that is a straightforward move ahead of turn one. Oh, Fournier running a little wide. Now, of course, the opportunity is there for Fournier for a counter-attack in the second DRS zone, but yeah, it looks like Knezovic is safe. Murno says... Oh, what has happened there? Wellborn runs right into the gravel! And it seems like he got stuck on the curb there. There's Gustavo Frigoto just behind him. Frigoto was not able to take advantage from that situation, but Lucas Murno says thank you very much and is now gone. Play, and this is the overtake of Knezovic against Gagliano. Gagliano defending the inside, but then with the help of DRS, no chance for the SCMM driver to keep Knezovic behind. And then even running a bit wide after turn 1. Not able to pull the counter-attack as well. We've seen that live. And Philipp Puschke into the pit lane, and there is other drivers in the pits as well. Yanis Wolborn, Gustavo Frigoto, Jeffrey Fournier. So double stacking at Maniti. Interesting. Wolborn out of the pits as well. There is Jeffrey Fournier. Now this is very, very interesting. So they will probably all be going for a 2-stop strategy if they come in at lap 22, and I believe they all went for the mediums once again, if I've seen that correctly. And this looks like he's retiring. Is he? Yes. Gino Gugiano retires from this race, becomes the second retiree of the day. And this means that Willami, well, unfortunately this is not a battle, this is just Willami letting his teammate through. Fantastic opportunity for Alexander Knežević. He can open the rear wing now, and this looks like a pretty easy job. Fournier not even bothering trying to defend the insides, rather focusing on that second DRS zone maybe, but I don't even think he will get an opportunity. Forward for Alexander, switch over to Knežević and Victor B. The gap is now just half a second, so we might see another move here. They're just approaching the start-finish straight. Around the final corner they go. And this should once again be straightforward for Alexander Knežević. Oh, Victor B is defending the insides. Knežević takes the long way. But yeah, he's already ahead of the first corner. So another easy pass for Knežević. Frigoto has gone into the pit lane. We can talk about Beto Julia later. Gustavo Frigoto is going for that undercut, lap 41, and this might be a very, very smart move for SCMM. Good news also, I think he won't have to deal with traffic. There is Jeffrey Fournier, will also be... Wolborn now in the pit lane. This is very interesting now, but this might be a lap too late even. Or he's very confident that he still had a bit of lap time in this set of tires. Now, where is Gustavo Frigoto? Knežević into the pit lane as well. This is very, very interesting. There is Frigoto. Oh, this is going to be very close. Frigoto will have the momentum, and there they go. Frigoto is past Wolborn. Maybe that was that one lap too late. Wolborn down to 6th. The road, and yeah. Oh my goodness, what has happened? Yanis Wolborn is off the track, and he's massively off the track. Dylan Fisher with a penalty. Oh, now this race is getting very interesting. Wolborn with a massive moment off the road. Dylan Fisher in second. Now he almost lost the car. Has been hit with a penalty. And that will move. Yanis Wolborn is in the pits. What has happened there? Oh, this is very crucial for the championship. Puschke might move up another spot because Fischer has been hit with the penalty. Yanis Wolborn, what is he doing? Running past his pit? Stopping at the end of it? He won't be retiring, will he? Down in 8th. Wolborn out of the points. That is absolutely crazy. Is Yanis Wolborn retiring from that race? That almost looked like he had some issue with his wheel. There is Yanis Wolborn. He stopped at the end of this pit lane. He might have... I think it might have been issues with his wheel. Right now, as it stands, will be scoring 8 points. Walborn might be scoring none of them. And this means the gap going into Silverstone could be down to just 2 points. From Frigoto. Throughout the day, look at how much Mercedes controlling this race up front. Fischer was sitting in a comfortable second. Frigoto already rather towards the inside, but this is going to be very interesting. Dylan Fischer takes the inside line away from Frigoto and moves past the Brazilian into turn 1. Not as straightforward as I thought it would be. But Frigoto just let that little bit of track for Dylan Fischer left on. He has not been struggling at all here today. It is back-to-back wins. He returns from the summer break just as he started it. Walborn, a bit of showboating here, sets the fastest lap in the end as well. It won't help him at all. He will finish outside of the points. Ruben Meschede wins for the second time in the WMSC. Congratulations to Ruben. Back-to-back wins here. And it was another commanding one. Optimal could have had the 1-2 here without that penalty for Dylan Fischer. But Philipp Puschke comes home to inherit second, and he will be very happy with that 8 points he scored here today. The championship gap between P1 and 2. Lucas Murno! What has happened? He's off the road. Dylan Fischer finishes on the podium. Lucas Murno in the final lap. What is... Finish this race. The car.
Good afternoon and welcome back to our stream from Silverstone. Round 11 of the World Monoposto Sim Racing Championship continues here at the home of British Motorsports. It was a very interesting and cagey qualifying session. Everyone waiting to the last minute to reveal their hand, but Yannis Volborn is the man on pole, the championship leader ahead of the man on form who's looking to try and win his third race in a row, the first time in WMSC history anyone would have won 3 in a row. The most anyone has managed is 2. People who do that are Yannis Volborn and Max Riedmuller, who we'll probably touch upon at some point this afternoon, even though he's not racing. So let's have a little look at that grid one more time. There was a penalty to inform you of as well, but Yannis Volborn was not one of them. On pole position from Ruben Meschede, Dylan Fischer, optimal, going to put the pressure on Lucas Murno, an excellent 4th. Row 3, Paolo Villami can be very proud of that for Scuderia Cesario, while Pascal Polans will want to try and fight his way back up to join the fight at the front. Philipp Puschke in 7th and Knežević in 8th. Victor B in 9th, Denny Vella in 10th, Aaron Curtis 11th. Benton Reeder was originally in the top 10 but was given a penalty for blocking during qualifying. Philip Fekler and Mateus Machado together on row 7. Well, Jeffrey Fournier didn't set a time, but will hopefully look to work his way up, similar to how he did in Portimao. He ended up in the points by starting dead last there, so don't write him off today. It's about 25 degrees, so it's warm for England, but it's not necessarily one for these engines. It was incredibly hot last time out in Portimao with dramatic explosion of Murno's engine. Everyone on the medium tyres, that means everyone has gone for the more aggressive set. Got 2 sets of tyres, the super soft and the mediums, or the soft and hard. You can only pick one of the sets. Everyone seems to be on mediums at the minute, but we'll see if that is true. Sometimes we get some delays with that information, so we'll see how that updates. Everyone lines up. Everyone's up. Here we go. The revs come up. The lights come on. And off we go in Silverstone. And who's got the better getaway at the minute? It looks like it's Meshida, but Volborn just manages to cut him off. They go side by side. Everyone's through safely. And we charge down towards the first big braking zone. 2 cars starting from the pit lane, being Fournier. We'll come back to that in a second, but in the meantime, Volborn has managed to keep Meshida behind him. Coming down the Wellington straight for the first time is Meshida, Fisher, Murno, Valami, Polans. Valami, is he looking to get on the attack or defend? Drew Brooklands at the minute. Going to be a slightly slower part of the track for that Team Holland car, but as soon as it gets in a straight line, that car is a rocket. Can Meshida stay with Volborn? 2 cops we go. No issues, everyone through safely, which is good to see. It was a practice start before, and all I can say is it was worse than Zoo's crash. Zoe's crash. Zoe's. We've got Pushka getting a little bit overexcited in the exit of Beckett. Down to Stowe for the first time. Knezovic looking to make a move up the inside of Benton Reader. They go side by side through Stowe. And they're going to stay side by side, hanging up through Vale. Knezovic, though, ahead. Benton Reader looking to fight his way back up after that penalty. But at the minute, Volborn is in the lead. And he has a second over Meshida, vitally, for DRS. We'll have to see how well Polans makes his way through the field as well. Because as we said at the qualifying portion of the show, Holland have brought a big upgrade to the DRS, so we'll have to see how good it is. But at the minute, he's already on the back of Lucas Murno without DRS. Murno just weaving a little bit to try and break the toe. Poland's trying a little dummy at the end of the Wellington straight just to maybe try and cut Murno off slightly. Philip Pushka started the race 7th up to 6th. Valami, the man losing out in the early stages. Only 2 points in it between him and Volborn. The winner of the first ever WMSC race. He's not really been at the front at the very sharp edge for a while, but he's just been so consistent through this season. And consistency proving to be just as important as outright wins. He's only won 1 less race than Yanis Volborn. And their confirmation to your left there that everyone is indeed on the medium tyres. I can't see many people switching off it because it is a very tyre-hungry track. And Pushka out of nowhere looking to try and pull a move on Pascal Polans. And Polans getting a little bit out of shape on the exit there. Through Club, they have a look, but he has to bail out of it. Fastest lap from Volborn. He's trying to just break free of Meshida. The big question, though, once again, be how can Volborn manage his tyres over the course of the race? With him and Polans very, very quick. Their tyres always seem to wear a little bit more than others. We'll see if that rears its head as an issue. It's not always a problem, but it might be this afternoon, especially if he's pushing very hard to get away. The minute, Pushka has gone from being right on the gearbox of Polans to having Valami right behind him. I think he maybe had to back out a little bit coming out of Club just to avoid contact. Slight moment of untidiness. I imagine that was probably started with Polans trying to get past Murno. It's given Murno a bit of breathing room as well. Pushka not be happy that Volborn has managed to keep the lead, but hopefully he can work his way up. Pushka, multiple times this season, has also tried the strategy of, trying to do less stops and manage the tyres, and that might be an alternative thing for him this afternoon, if he can keep the pace without the drop-off. Meantime, Yanis Volborn relentlessly fastest lap after fastest lap, but Ruben Meshida is still only a second away. He's not breaking away. Dylan Fisher keeping tabs as well, as is Lucas Murno. Solid start to the race from everyone. No incidents, no issues. Now it's about getting the rhythm, finding the pace. It'll be good to see, keep an eye on when obviously people stop first. in terms of tyres. Let's see how this goes. And we have a replay. This is the start. And initially, it looked like Volborn almost slightly got bogged down. Let's have a look. Both Fisher also looking across. It almost looked like the second phase of the start saved Volborn. It's hairy stuff flying through Abbey and Farm there. A little bit of contact there between Knezovic and one of the better Julies, and almost sandwiched between the two of them. But everyone through safely. Look to make a move up into Brooklands. Oh, he forces Bella to go defensively, and he's firmly between the better Julies there. Couple of mentions in chat about ice mode. Look at my phone right now. It's hot. It is very hot. And hopefully the action on track follows suit. Again, so far just very cagey. No one particularly overdriving or doing anything outlandish just yet. Just getting into the rhythm of the race. Meshida surely going to be thinking about where he's going to be closer and further away to Volborn, where he could potentially make a move. Is it in the pit stops? 51 laps this afternoon, so there is still plenty of time for things to change around. In the meantime, Velami and Pushka changing places in the background. They must have gone side by side into cops there. They're both okay. Would have been a hairy moment for the pair of them, but still okay. Velami now having to just make sure Denny Vela doesn't have a look. Obviously lost some momentum in that exchange. Pushka now starting to lose the back of the top five. Like I said, is that going to be high saving? Is he just kind of pacing himself nicely? Or is he just not quite as quick this afternoon? Teammate Jeffrey Fournier started at the back. At the minute has not made too much progress. He's between Victor B and Mateus Machado, who are making respective debuts, not overall, but for their teams. See what B and Machado can do this afternoon. Apologies, I believe we're having some sound issues again. We'll try and get that fixed as soon as we can. And Philip Feckler dives out into Brooklands. And what a fine move that is from Philip Feckler. That's fantastic work into Brooklands. Just catches Aaron Curtis off guard. And that's a brilliant move indeed. Will Curtis come back into cops? With up ahead, Benson Reader and Pushka. Oh, sorry, they had an issue with Pushka there. They showed Pushka down in 10th. Slight issue with the timing tower. Should all be okay. Great move there from Philip Feckler. See if he can push on to try and attack the top 10. For the first time all season, we didn't have any Costech cars in a race last time out of Portimao. It's good to see Philip Feckler back. Costech trying to get their first points of the season. Ricardo bringing up the field at the minute. Interesting to see this second group. Meantime, up the front, Mesh is within a second of Yanis Volborn. Question is, will they get close enough as Feckler sliding it out through the exit of that first complex? Out of the loop, down the Wellington Straight. DRS will have been enabled, but they also have push to pass as well to help defend, or potentially a move going off. Victor B looking on the inside of Curtis. Curtis just managing to hang it out. Very well held by Aaron Curtis there. Minute, Curtis seems to be the fodder coming towards the end of the Wellington Straight. doing what they can to try and keep Victor B and potentially Mateus Machado behind them. Gap down to 1/10 of a second up the front briefly between Meshda and Volborn. And Volborn's early pace, he's been reeled in. Meshda's got back inside that 1 second DRS range. The top three were separated by under a second as they came across the line then. Volborn might be the cork in the top of a bottle here. A very fine vintage that is filled with optimal esports. Down the Wellington Straight we go. Got that exit speed. Going to be through these sections. Maybe on the exit of Maggots and Beckett's, the Meshda might have to have a look. Riding on board. Approaching Cops. Barely even a lift off the throttle. Flying through in 7th gear. The speed that gets carried through Maggots and Beckett's is incredible, both incredibly smooth, and the exit is so much better there for Reuven Meshda. You saw there's a little bit of a slide from Volborn, having to fight the car a bit. DRS is wide open. Volborn goes defensive. Meshda to the outside of Stowe. Oh, and he's just pushed a little bit wide. Is he going to keep his foot in it? He is. He loses a little bit of momentum. And that is going to be the point of attack for Reuven Meshda. It is about the downforce heavy sections where Optimal can counter the speed. Or then Volborn really having to fight the car on the exit of Maggots and Beckett's. Just got a good run out of Chapel, but didn't quite have the speed. Volborn positioned his car very well. And here we go, we see again in real time, just when he gets the throttle down, the gap that gets pulled. DRS will be open now for Meshda. So it is this section of the lap that is going to be the most important for Meshda to try and make a move. Really interesting, it's not just Meshda crewing up behind, you've got Fisher and Murno right there as well. Then a little gap back to Poland's. This is the key section, so into Maggots and Beckett's again we go. See how close. Again, the gap just closes, but that's a little bit messy. You can tell Meshda knows that that's the all-important part of the track, that he has to nail the exit. He's not going to be close this time around. And that group at the back, it seems to be all kicking off. B, Feckler, Fournier and Curtis have all switched places in the last few seconds, so they've clearly had a little bit of a to-do. At the front, it remains a tense moment, and Meshda just needs to find the moment to strike. Stay within a second, get the move. Dylan Fisher just right there as well. I'm sure he's not going to be attacking his teammate too heavily at this phase. The Wellington Straight, and you can see it's not quite close enough yet. Top 5 staying together, and this seems to be the action group at the minute. But Curtis has now lost out massively. Jeffrey Fournier is trying to get past Philip Feckler. All change round. B has now managed to get clear, and Fournier is through. B and Fournier both point scorers last time out, and they managed to get clear of Feckler and Curtis, and they might drive away now and be left to fight amongst themselves. Very important overtakes for their race this afternoon. Can they still get something from where they are? About 15 seconds away from points at the minute. Meantime, we join Valami. Oh, Valami pushing now. Getting close to Pushka. Is this Pushka's pace or Pushka preserving? Dylan Fisher set the fastest lap of the race so far, 1 minute 28.9. However, they all seem to be matching themselves in that top group. The top three all in the mid 1 minute 29s at the minute. Even if no moves get made on track in this first phase, still the pit stops to go. I'm anticipating a two-stopper based on previous races. Pushka at this minute might be just managing his pace to go for one. Strategy, I believe he tried back in Hockenheim. And also worked by Max Riedmuller earlier in the season. Watkins Glen, if I remember rightly, and then that was a race that Max Riedmuller won. Some people may be asking, where is Max Riedmuller? He was the main championship contender before Philip Pushka stepped up. And essentially, unfortunately, we've lost Max Riedmuller to injury. He picked up a leg injury, missed a few races, and is close to recovery, if not already recovered. And unfortunately, he's decided not to continue with the season. Just frustrated that he's lost his chance at the championship fight. So Maniti might not be with us for the rest of the season, which is a real shame. But it's fortunate as we have 5 incredible drivers up at the front fighting for the win, and 4 drivers in the standings fighting for points. Volborn, Meshida, Polands and Pushka in the championship fight. Top 5 group still only separated by 3 seconds, and Polands is now starting to slowly reel in Murnau once again. See now from the other perspective of the Holland car being the chasing car, and having to manage that car a bit more. We had a brief yellow flag there in sector 2, but all okay. The minute he's just not getting quite close enough. This track is the perfect blend of straights and corners that is just not favouring one particular car design too much over the other, unless you've really not gone for out and out straight line speed in your design, then you probably are going to struggle. But the more balanced car designs and the top speed car designs both thrive around this circuit. Question is, how much can you reel Murnau in? Pascal Polands has DRS open. The gap is going to come down and down, but it's not going to come down enough by the end of the Wellington Straight. The minute Lucas Murnau is not putting a wheel wrong, fairly comfortable in 4th. Mentioned in qualifying that Lucas Murnau will not be driving for Infernal Void next year, and it was confirmed in chat. I appreciate this bit of info. Lucas Murnau is going to join the new team that's on joining the grid next year, Bravo Snowshat, and it's a Brazilian team, and it makes sense because Murnau is Brazilian as far as I'm aware. I'm sure you can correct me if I'm wrong. Meantime, we join this gap scrap for the final point. Denny Vella, a minute holding on to that final point ahead of Alexander Knezovic. Oh, and in goes Pascal Polands after 14 laps. Now, I must admit, that is even earlier than I was expecting. We'll have a see if this is just a routine pit stop. I imagine it is going to be for the medium tyre. It looks like it is. White wall tyres. Poland's coming out in 10th. A nice gap there. Not going to get held up by B and Fournier behind. Philip Feckler following suit and also coming in. A couple of very early there, it has to be said. We'll see how many people come in and follow suit at this point. Oh, and Feckler is out. The DNF for Philip Feckler. That's a shame. Try and find out what happened there, but just seemed to pull in. But if there was a collision that led up to that, don't know if the car seemed intact, unless just having a bit of a problem. That is a shame. Philip Feckler of Costech is our first retirement of the afternoon. So, it'll be interesting to see now. Doesn't look like there's anyone else going in the pits at this point. Oh, there is. I tell a lie. Philip Pushka is in. So, the theory that Pushka is tyre saving, completely wrong. Forget this being a 2-stopper. This might be a 3-stopper this afternoon. With how everyone is going through their tyres. Victor B is also in the pit lane. We're going to see him in the back of our screen now, coming for a pit stop. But out comes Philip Pushka. Comes out just behind his teammate Jeffrey Fournier. I imagine Jeffrey's not going to fight this too hard. A flashing yellow in sector 1. It seems to have cleared. So, down the Wellington straight, Jeffrey Fournier, yep, good team play there, out of the way. Pushka back into the top 10. And we'll see what the benefit is of getting this pit stop in early, but we are looking at a 3-stop race. So lap 15, lap 30, lap 45, the final stint. Don't know if people might take the risk as Ruven Meshida comes in now. Temporarily gets the lead of the race coming into the pit lane. Ironically for the first time. Okay, we'll see if that final stint, with it only being 9 or 10 laps, will people risk a super soft tyre? Considering how much the tyre wears, I reckon it will still be mediums all the way, but not the hottest race of the season, but heavy on the tyre wear. Bellamy and Benson Reader following in behind. Ruven Meshta is going to rejoin ahead vitally of Pascal Polenz. It's a lot closer than where they were on track. So the undercut might be quite powerful here. So I can't see Yannis Volborn, seeing how much time that's been lost between Meshida and Polenz. I can't see Volborn staying out for much longer. Meshida, though, has got to get his tyres lit up and get away from Polenz. He can't waste any time fighting with Pascal Polenz at this point. Still very finely balanced, this race. Volborn has led every lap so far, but he's always been within sometimes a second, no more than probably 2 seconds at the most. The Meshida through, and then here comes the vital stop for Yannis Volborn. So it's only 1 lap at this point that Meshida has been undercutting. He was very close when they came in. Let's see what happens. Erno following in behind. We keep one eye out for where Ruven Meshida is. And Meshida is out the final corner. And now we can see a Team Holland car, but it's enough. Ruven Meshida has completed the undercut and has jumped Yannis Volborn. That is a vital, vital pit stop for Ruven Meshida. And well, I mean, you could see the power of the undercut just from the gap that Polenz had pulled into Meshida. But in 1 lap, it's enough for Meshida to be able to jump Yannis Volborn. So, the question is, how hard does Volborn fight back? Fischer needs to think about coming in as well, because Considering how closely packed those front three are, Fischer could be the big loser out of this. He could end up fourth. A 5-second gap between Poland and Pushka, which hopefully Fischer can slot into. We've got Lucas Murno down in 8th. Obviously, he was amongst this group. I wonder what's happened to Lucas Murno that's caused him to lose out. Because he came in the same lap as Volbo, unless that's just how much he's lost. Yeah, wow, the undercut, very much the way to go. So Dylan Fischer, could he end up coming up behind Murno? Could he end up in 8th from all this? Obviously, you've got Knežević and Vela there yet to pit. Actually, Knežević is in as I say that. Could Fischer find himself at the back of this big queue? Out of the pits comes Dylan Fischer. Team Holland car, he's out in 5th. Does slot into that gap, but oh, Murno. Murno was briefly ahead of Pushka there. Unless that was a timing issue, but he's right with the man who is second in the championship standings. Less than a second away. DRS will be open down the Wellington Straight, but he's quite a ways back. But no move there. But that has shaken things up quite interestingly indeed. So the timing of these pit stops, if the move can't get done on track, is going to be vital to this race. And the minute Meshida is not pulling away from Volborn, cars do seem evenly matched around this circuit, just at different places on the circuit. Murno, very racy against Filip Pushka here, very close on the hanger straight. Pushka goes defensive, Lucas Murno round the outside. Oh, they just touch. Murno keeps his foot and he's going to be on the inside coming into Vale. And Murno gets the job done. Interesting to see if Pushka protests that at all, because he'd gained advantage from going off the track, but he did only go off the track because they had contact, and I think that was just racing incident contact. So I think Lucas Murno will be okay there. Unless Filip Pushka can back. In the meantime, Denny Vella, who has stayed out, has been caught. And this is for position. This could be very interesting indeed. And Yanis Volbon is right behind Ruben Meshida, who's going to try and sweep around the outside. And they hit! Ruben Meshida has been collected by Yanis Volbon. And what will race direction do about that? We'll get a replay of that for you in a second, but Ruben Meshida is down to 5th and his chances of taking a 3rd race win in a row take a massive blow here on lap 19. Well, when we see the replay, we'll take a look. But to me, unless Meshida had issues with understeer, I think Yanis Volborn might have cut in a bit too early. Here we go. Oh, Denny Vella in the way. Volborn has had the pace coming out onto the Wellington Straight all day long. Oh, that's really hard to tell. That is really hard to tell if that is a racing incident or if Volborn's cut in. It doesn't look like Volborn has done anything like malicious in that. It's going to be very, very tight. But in the meantime, Volborn determined. He's going to try and get past Denny Vella as quickly as he can. He doesn't want to get holed up. And he's going to be ahead by the Wellington Straight. Poland's in the meantime not quite as quickly, but he'll have DRS open now. And will look to make the move. And what a turnaround that is from the start of this race. It is now a Holland Racing Team 1-2 on lap 20. But there is still a very, very long way to go. The question is now, can Optimal respond? Denny Vella will obviously be out of their way either very quickly or from the pit stops, but the fact that they're having to follow him through Maggots and Beckett's when he's going to be running on medium tyres that are 20 laps old, and Meshida had to bail out there. need to keep their cool here. A big setback, but it's certainly not over when Fisher has half a look into Stowe. Just going to be hoping Denny Vella, please go in, but he's not. Denny Vella, maybe he's the one trying for one less pit stop than everyone else. Maybe he's going to try and do a 2-stop over a 3. This must be so frustrating for Ruven Meshter to have that contact, to be in the net lead of the race. And now he's just stuck behind his teammate, and Denny Vella and Fisher had half a look there, coming into Village. And Vella surely isn't going to be able to keep them behind. Fisher must be ahead by now. Who's going to have DRS? It is still Fisher. Could be very interesting indeed. Oh my word, don't have contact again coming into Brooklands. And the Optiminals just about clear Denny Vella. And Denny Vella has every right to try and defend. Yes, he may be on the older tyres, but it is for position. But Optiminal will not be best happy with him at this point. So now the gap between Polands and Fisher is up to 3 seconds. The gap between Meshida and Bolborn, about 4. Doing some quick maths. A bit of time to make up. But the only way around it is Meshida has got to think about another undercut. Yes, there's time to try and reel in the gap, but as well as he's got to make sure they pull the trigger first on the next pit stop once again. Interesting that they chose, Holland Racing Team chose Polands to go in first the first time around. Maybe people weren't quite fully sure of how much of an advantage it would be. Meantime, Denny Vella still out. He's now got Lucas Murno and Philip Pushka behind him. Murno has managed to keep Pushka behind. Murno. Vella not defending too hard this time into Brooklands, and Murno will be pretty happy now. He can maybe get a little bit of space between him and Philip Pushka. Next chance. Oh, I was going to say the next chance is not there. Vella running Pushka out of road. He's certainly not. He's not afraid to defend from these quicker cars at this point. Pushka knows how important it was to try and get past Vella quickly to stay with Murno, but he's going to have to wait now until the hanger straight. DRS open. Even still, he was a little bit far back coming out of Maggots and Beckett. Might try and line up and move into Vale. Stays behind. He goes, he looks for it, but nothing doing there. Has he been able to put Denny Vella off? They exit club. Not really much be a very brave man to go for the move into Abbey. He can stay in his wheel tracks. There's a chance coming into the village turn. Going to be all over him by the Wellington Straight. In the meantime, Lucas Murno happily says, see you later. Going to be looking behind him. Very happy indeed. Pushka, though, right behind him at the end of the Wellington Straight. Vella fighting this one a bit more. Oh my goodness, and they had to both take slightly evasive action, a little bit sideways into there. But Pushka on the racing line and sweeps by. Now Pushka has a 2.5 second gap. That is how much being stuck behind Denny Vella for a lap has cost him. If you think Denny Vella is losing about 2.5 seconds on those tyres, how long's a pit stop at Silverstone? Is trying to tyre save and not do an extra pit stop the Strat. I'm glad he's trying it. It's great to see someone trying something different. As is said in chat, and I fully agree with, yes, we've had some great action today. And hopefully it's not over. Hopefully Optiminal can mount a recovery. Had nothing from race direction, so I believe that's been adjudged as a racing incident, and as tough as that must be for Ruven Meshida, interesting interpretation of the track there from Victor B and Jeffrey Fournier. Both of them cut, so I don't think anyone can complain about what happens now. Through Stowe they go. Fournier again a little bit sideways. 12 seconds between these cars in the top 10. They're going to have a little race amongst themselves for now. Down, start, finish straight. Approaching half distance of this race. Fournier now with a chance on Victor B. He just isn't going to try it this time around. He might be lining it up next time. Oh, but Victor B getting a little bit on the curbs there in Brooklyn, so Fournier decides against hanging out around the outside of Luffield, but they are going to go side by side, hanging up to Copse, and famously, there's never been any collisions racing side by side through Copse. Oh, they sweep round and Fournier backs out. Fantastic racing. Through Maggots and Beckett's again we go. Both of them keep it on the track this time. Yes, they do. Fournier within a second, so we will get the DRS, but this time it's not going to be close enough for a move into Stowe. Now, interestingly, the gap between Poland's and Fischer is down just 0.2 of a second. They've reeled in Poland's. There is a gap. I wonder if Poland's is going to play rear gunner a bit. Oh, wow, Poland's getting a little bit sideways and almost stopping on the apex of Brooklands there. They have reeled in Poland's very quickly, but Volborn has now gone clear. Makes me think, I wonder if Poland's has managed his pace slightly. Become a bit of a stumbling block. The Optiminals. Everyone pit the first time around, lap 15 for medium, so we can expect pit stops around lap 30. 29 to 32 is probably the window. So, to try and ward them off, it's really important that Poland keeps the Optiminals at bay, so they don't have a chance to try and pull an undercut on Volborn. They might try and pull an undercut on Poland's, but they've got the cover. And Denny Vella, at long last, 26 laps. He's done half the race. Incredible effort. Is he going to try and one-stop this race? Obviously, you've got stop number 1 at 15 for everyone else. Stop 2 at lap 30. Stop 3 at lap 45, roughly, unless they're going to extend, someone's going to try and extend the final stint to the end. So it is between 2 and 3 stops for everyone. The fact that Denny Vella's going for a one-stopper is quite special indeed. He's going to have some fresher tyres now. Hopefully he can get in some clear air. Won't want to fight with B and Fournier for too long. Here we go. Fischer now right on the back of Pascal Polands. And he's going to hang it around the outside of Stowe. And they come side by side, but they hold it together. Oh, and that is elbows out, but fair. And what a move from Dylan Fischer. Puts a real statement of intent there to say, you know what, I'm coming past. I'm not moving. That's a great move. Will Poland's look to try and make the move back? Fischer just going to the inside, just to ward him off. No move here, but this is the big opportunity. But again, there's a little bit of a slide there from Poland's, and that's a superb move from Meshida. An opportunist move. Saw Poland's getting out of shape. They're going to be side by side on the Wellington Straight, though. The Holland Racing Team car is quicker in a straight line, and Meshida has to tuck back in. Just needs to stay with Poland and stay that close to him. If he can have B basically where he is now on the exit. Oh, was there a bit of contact there? Did Meshida just knock Poland's wide? They're side by side again, heading up to Copse. Side by side, but Meshida, the ghost of Silverstone 2021, just willing people to pull out of moves into Copse there. And this is the important part of the track now for Reuven Meshida. Through Beckett, out the exit of Chapel. A little bit messy there from Poland's. DRS is going to be wide open. Unfortunately, Dylan Fisher needs to get a second clear because Poland's at the minute has the DRS to defend against Reuven Meshida. So it is vital that Fisher pulls clear of Pascal Poland's. So it gives Reuven Meshida the opportunity to attack. But what a fine move that was by Fisher. We'll get that up in a second. That was a great move and also a great bit of action through Village and the Loop. So we'll try and find replays for both of those of you as soon as we can, but at the minute we stick with this fight. Out through Aintree we go, down the Wellington Straight. Just doesn't seem to be the place that the Optimals can get the move done on Holland. As we saw in the first stint, it looked more likely than anything at Stowe. Dylan Fisher proved it was possible. Getting incredibly close through Luffield. A bit of a twitch there on exit from Meshida. Meantime, Yannis Volborn is 5 seconds clear at the front. Minute he's getting away. Through Magdeburg as we go, about 0.6 of a second going into this complex of corners. Through Beckett, power down out of Chapel. The gap is down to 0.4 again. It's a messy exit from Poland's. This time Poland's does not have DRS. Reuven Meshida, could he stay to the inside? Oh, followed Poland's over. I almost think he could have stayed to the inside into Stowe, but it's all happening so quickly. You've got to make split-second decisions. Not this time, but that is very promising. If Meshida can stay with Poland's, I think next time round he might get the move done. But at the minute, Fisher is not making any inroads into Volborn's lead. Gap is holding at about 5 seconds. Like I say, if we're expecting a 3-stopper, they might start pitting now. They might be extending the middle stint to a 2-stopper. In which case, might be lap 40, roughly, for another stop. So we'll see how long they stay out. Again, Meshida, only 0.3 between them. Heading towards Copse. Even closer this time around. Fire through Maggots and Beckett's once again. Meshida's got to get the tidiest exit he can. Poland's is a bit tidy this time around as well. Gap is 0.6, so he ends up further away at the exit of Maggots and Beckett, so he's not close enough to try and get a move done this time. In the background, Lucas Murno there, slowly reeling them in. Seems that Philip Pushka's not been at the races today. He's holding 6th at the minute. While both Scuderia Cesario cars are currently in the points. It'll be a fine result for them. Better Julia's currently 9 and 10. The other Epic Basilia car of Geoffrey Fournier in 11th. The second Infernal Boy card of Aaron Curtis in 12th. SCMM Victor B on his debut. And Machado on his debut as well for Potenza Resport. Fekler, our only retirement this afternoon. Here's the first replay of what will be an incredible set of moves. Dylan Fisher just decides to hang it out around the outside. Poland's just the tap wheels. I think that is very much racing instant tapping of wheels. And Fisher just hangs on to it. Both do an incredible job to hang on to it. And that is a vital and brilliant move from Dylan Fisher. It's almost an opportunity as well for Reuven Meshida to get the job done instantly down through Village and the Loop. See, Poland's just getting a little bit sideways. This is such a brilliant move to the inside to get side by side. He's got his nose ahead. The straight line speed of that Holland Racing Team car just meant he was able to survive another day. And of course, by that point, he would have had DRS from Fisher. Excellent bit of racing from all three. Silverstone is just one of those circuits you can usually trust to deliver racing. And it continued all the way on through to Copse before Mesher decided, you know what, no, not here, not this time. Rejoin the action, Mesher still behind. The fastest lap of the race has been set by Pascal Poland, so 1 minute 28.2, but at the minute everyone is lapping closer to the 1 minute 29s. Yannis Volborn, the gap hovering still around 5 seconds, managing pace. The stops that we were predicting for a 3-stop race at around lap 30 haven't materialised, so I'm guessing now it is going to be a 2-stop race, and they're extending this middle stint. Meshed very close again, only 3/10 on the entrance to this set complex, which is almost hurting him being too close. He's lost time. It's almost like he needs to be a little bit further back at Copse and then get the run up. I feel like he's almost struggling in dirty air when he's 3/10 behind coming in. When he was 6/10 behind coming into Maggots and Beckett's. Oh, and there we go. Well, Reuven Mesher decides to pull the trigger, and this might be the move for the undercut. So, still questions of whether it's a 2-stop or a 3-stop race. Question is, will it change anyone's mind about what they're going to do? Will it force Pascal Poland into a move? And this stop could trigger a flurry of activity over the next few laps. On lap 32, the first person to stop again that's in the leading pack, because B and Machado have also stopped twice in the background, is Reuven Mesher. And he's got some clear air as well. He's got a 6-second gap ahead of him to Knežević, so he can get the hammer down now. But this next lap for Pascal Poland is vital. The question is, does it prompt Volborn to act? For the minute, Poland's also still in clear air. Those medium tyres going to be about 17 laps old. Coming to the end of this lap, I think. So this is a big moment. Is he going to duck straight in this lap? Exit Stowe. Does he turn out? No, he's staying out for now. Lucas Murno, though, has made the call. Is this a chance for Lucas Murno to get some places? And Dylan Fisher's gone in. So, knowing how powerful the undercut is, I find it interesting Holland Racing Team haven't reacted. And typically, Holland Racing Team are the team that's harder on their tyres. And that's timed just perfectly. Hopefully that hasn't slowed Fisher at all. It looks like Murno got in just in time. Out comes Dylan Fisher. Once again, ahead of Mesher. There was quite a gap between them, but that gap has come down now. Murno just a couple of seconds behind. So these all now on their own patch of road, not fighting each other and charging. Volborn looks pretty safe at the minute, but Pascal Poland has got to think about acting, surely, as Aaron Curtis comes in. Fournier just in the foreground as well. Will be interesting to see. And timing is telling me that Aaron Curtis might have rolled the dice here and gone on soft tyres. See if that's the case. Looks like it. It is the Red Wall tyres. First person this afternoon to try the super soft tyres, and Yannis Volborn is in. Oh, and they're going to try and double stack. There was about a 9-second gap on the road between them, so that should be enough. Pascal Poland's just happily driving through other people's pit boxes, which in real life you'd get a little bit told off for. So the question is, who's going to make it past? It looks like everyone has jumped Pascal Poland's, including Lucas Murno. Murno learning his lesson from earlier and getting the stop in early. The undercut, very powerful indeed, but it has still got only taken a second out of Janis Volborn's lead. Meantime, Pushka fighting with Vela. At this point in the race, Vela will have relatively younger tyres than Pushka. So it's now a reverse situation with Vela trying to fight his way back up the field. He's going to want to get as far up the field as he can if he's going to try and stay out. In the meantime, Knežević is the new Denny Vela. This is for position, but on old tyres. Meshida, once again, will not believe his luck. He's going to want to clear Alexander Knežević as quickly as he can. Oh, and there's a note from race direction there. Geoffrey Fournier has been given a 5-second time penalty for an incident with Victor B. That must have happened off screen. They have been scrapping most of the afternoon. Alexander Knežević, though, deciding not to do a Denny Vela, comes in lap 35. So, are we looking at one more stop for the lead pack? It's an interesting note that Denny Vela is only 8.5 seconds behind Ruven Meshida at this point. So if everyone must make a third stop, it might turn Denny Vela's way. But there is about to be a stint where everyone is on quicker tyres. Now this must be the incident between B and Fournier. Oh, and it's Fournier on the exit of the pits. Oh, and that's unfortunate. That's a lack of awareness. Oh, and wow, a big bounce for Victor B. I think it was a late move there from Geoffrey Fournier. And he has been penalised for that. Seems about right, unfortunately. Surely, maybe not intentional, but fortunate poor awareness at that point. So, Poland is now fighting to get back ahead of Murno. It's been very topsy-turvy between everyone behind Volborn. Volborn has pretty much stuck within the top two. But it is... Oh, and Geoffrey Fournier is out! That is a huge accident for Geoffrey Fournier. Just after being given that 5-second time penalty. It's like on the... Is that the entrance of Brooklands? And it'd be interesting to see what's happened there. Has he had a big accident? Has he fought with someone? Or has he thrown that off in frustration? Oh, he's alone on the Wellington Straight. Oh, he just has a big moment going into Brooklands. Very interesting. I have no idea. Doesn't look like he's throwing it off, but it's a very weird incident as well. But it looks like Geoffrey Fournier... Well, it doesn't look like. I think it's pretty much confirmed. Geoffrey Fournier is out. Our second retirement of the day. Pascal Poland has set the new fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 27.4. He's charging. Everyone is currently lapping in the 1 minute 27s as they burn off their fuel, and they're now on fresher tyres. Okay, so there was a call from race direction that does shed some light on that Geoffrey Fournier incident. A safety car is not going to be called, as Geoffrey Fournier did crash on purpose. So that is really unfortunate to see. You know, it's frustrating to be given the 5-second time penalty. I'm sure it wouldn't have been intentional, but frustration's clearly boiling over there. Don't think Geoffrey Fournier is trying to do a Renault Singapore 2008. Crashgate to try and help Philip Pushka from an unlikely position, but on the off chance he is, it's not going to pay dividends. There's going to be no safety car. Fournier has already left, in fact, which you're supposed to stay in the car and remain in the garage, so he would be finishing 14th, technically, ahead of Fekler. That's unfortunate from Jeffrey Fournier. He's been solid throughout the season. A good backup to Philip Pushka at Epic Brasilia, but that's an unfortunate incident. In the meantime, Yannis Volborn is managing the gap to Dylan Fisher, and Ruven Meshda is also stuck behind his teammate. In fact, he's not even close to challenging at the minute. Murno is also holding off Poland's. A little bit of stalemate between the top five. And Philip Pushka comfortably running his own race, and Yannis Volborn with a 27.3. That is the new fastest lap of the race. Putting some markers down now. And with the way he's doing that, that would make me suggest that there is going to be a third stop from him. Oh, and Jeffrey in the chat there. I'll have to see it from another angle. It looked like the move came across. It was definitely an unintentional incident, but it looked like he cut across him. We only saw it from the TV angle, Jeffrey, so, you know, that's all I saw from my opinion. It might have looked different from yours. Sorry that happened to your race this afternoon, but, you know, a real shame it ended that way, has to be said. You had a good fight with Victor for most of the afternoon. Entertaining as well, the top weren't fighting each other. In the meantime, Paolo Villami is looking to try and get ahead of Denny Vella. But these are going to be on different strategy slightly. Villami's tyres probably a lot fresher now. Vella's are going to be on slightly used. We'll see if he's going to try and run to the end. I should do over half the race on those tyres. See if he can make it last the other half. But it may be very interesting if everyone else is doing another stop ahead of him. 25 seconds between... 26 seconds, I should say, between Vella and the leader. But Villami threw comfortably on the fresher rubber and pulling clear. At the minute, Yannis Volborn is marking out the perfect recovery from his first pointless race of the season in Portimao. In pole position. Close fight with Meshida. Controversial contact coming into Brooklands, but very much a judge as a racing incident, and I think that was the right call on that one. And now he's been able to use that moment to his advantage and has broken clear. 7 seconds. The only hope is that he is pushing so hard now, he does wear his tyres down quicker. Still in that interesting point of do these guys try and stay out on these tyres to the end, or is it going to be impossible? Is there going to be a final stint? Could that stint even play out on the super soft tyres? Only driver to have used the super soft tyres all afternoon in the race. Aaron Curtis currently running in 11th. Lucas Murno, though, has been comfortably keeping Pascal Polands behind him, but Polands is very close now, coming out the exit of the loop, out through Aintree onto the Wellington Straight. DRS is going to be open. Let's see how much the gap starts to shut. Doesn't shut too much. Murno just holding quite nicely at this point. After losing out in the first set of pit stops, managed to get himself back into a good position in the second. Might be one more to go just yet. only 4 seconds behind Reuven Meshida. In through Maggots and Beckett's. Able to change direction that little bit quicker, a little bit better than the Holland Racing Team car. And even though there's going to be DRS wide open on Poland's car, he's way too far back. Think of a move at this point. But Murno just managing that 4th place at the minute. Just needs to make sure he keeps it consistent, doesn't put a wheel wrong. Poland's is just out of the picture in terms of the race, but I think he's very much played his part in helping Volborn get a little bit of breathing space on the road. See how the tyres drop off towards the end of the stint for Volborn. Again, Poland's much closer at the Wellington Straight DRS zone than he is at the Hangar Straight. But he certainly doesn't reel him in. It's only at the very end of the straight that we start to see a real closing speed. They're just having to correct the car. A little bit of oversteer on the exit of Luffield. Cops we go. Gap 0.3 of a second to go through Cops. You can see a little bit of dirty air and some issues with the handling of the car, maybe a bit of both. Means he's now almost a second behind. He's over a second, in fact, briefly through Maggots and Beckett's. To have very, very tidy run-up section, or in the hope that Lucas Murno puts a wheel wrong. At the minute, it's going to be a slightly frustrating afternoon for him. There are 10 laps to go. So, will there be a third stop in these final 10 laps? And will it be a quick change for super soft tyres, or will it be pointless? Will people be just trying to hang on? Janis Volborn is absolutely pushed and hammering round this final stint. At the minute, himself and Reuven Meshida are the fastest people out on track, lapping 1 minute 28.3s. Fisher and Murno are in 28.4s. Poland's at the minute we could have a reference for, because I think he was had that last time invalidated after running wide through Cops. So we'll see if there's going to be a little bit of time management towards the end, or if someone will just go for a third stop. It's very close within the last 10 laps and very risky. But how much time are you going to lose around here if the tyres do start to drop off a cliff? Poland's wrestling the car through. In fact, he's done an incredible job there. Only 0.6 of a second down on the exit into the Hangar Straight. I still don't think it's going to be quite close enough. See him get closer and closer. And through Stowe we go. But that's the sort of thing Poland's going to have to do. He's going to have to throw the car and trust it through that section to be close enough. But at the minute, there's just a little bit more balance. Less straight line speed and more balance in Lucas Murno's Infernal Void car. Just keeping Pascal Poland's behind him. But by far the closest two people on the track right now. Philip Timonel's just ahead, about 1.7 ahead away from each other. Very close, Poland's. Oh, and he has a little look, but slightly half-hearted and last minute. We're getting closer and closer. Lucas Murno's time is just 1 lap older than Poland's. Through Cops we go. Only half a tenth, but don't want to be too close. Need to worry about the dirty air through this as well. Poland's throwing the car through behind. Gap is about 0.6 of a second again as they cross the DRS line over through Chapel. And the gap closes and closes down the Hangar Straight. And Stowe comes just soon enough for Lucas Murno. In the meantime, his teammate Aaron Curtis in the pits. They were on the super softs, only ones to do so. I wonder if with the time left, it's going to be another super soft stint towards the end of the race. Probably going to be around pit exit. Might trip over Curtis now. There's Curtis. I think we just saw Curtis flash through the foreground of the shot there. A minute. Just a little bit closed right up through the midsection of Village and the Loop. Only 3/10 on the exit of the DRS line. This might be a chance for Pascal Polens. He's lined himself up well, up to the inside, into Brooklands. Oh, but he understeers wide, and they're side by side. Lucas Murno keeps his foot in it, and he takes the place back. Very brave stuff there from Lucas Murno. I mean, this is the issue, I think, with the Holland Racing Team car. They're just struggling with understeer. And struggling through those grippy corners. Right on him, though, through Maggots and Beckett's. Out of Beckett, through Chapel. Murno getting a little bit sideways, though. Doesn't get the best exit, and there's going to be another chance down the hanger straight. This is striking distance for Pascal Polens. He's going to go to the inside. He goes to the inside of Stowe. Murno's going to try and hang it round. And he's hung on again. Into Vale we go. Oh, and he almost chopped across. He noticed that Polens was still very much alongside. But Murno survives again. Two excellent, robust bits of defending from Lucas Murno there. Banking on the strengths of his car against the weaknesses of Pascal Polens. And it's not over yet. Through the loop we go again. Murno just sweeping across, trying to get himself the best possible exit he can. Knowing that it's going to be DRS wide open. Everyone has push to pass so they can use it and deploy it at the relevant moments as well. Not going to be close enough this time, but Murno is slightly maybe put off line there. And it's going to be the better exit. Ooh, slightly better exit for Polens, but Murno shut the door. Fantastic battle between these two. Into Cops we go again. It's going to have to back out now. Polens surely needs to look at the run up, but unfortunately might cost him a bit of time unless he can now go full bore through Maggots and Beckett's. Fortunately, he's lost the time. Oh, and he's pushed it too hard. And he cuts the track. Gap down to a second. He still has DRS. Unfortunately, the game must have not told him to slow down unless he gets a penalty. So he seems okay. He must be within his number of breaches. But that just gives Lucas Murno a breather. Question is for how long? Gap up the front in the meantime increasing to over 8 seconds between Wellborn and Fisher. Wellborn lapping 128.5 for even Meshida. For reference, 28.8. Wellborn seems to have this very much under control. In the meantime, though, Polens clambering all over the back of Lucas Murno's car, trying to put him off through Village and the Loop, but unfortunately doesn't get the exit speed. But nothing this time around, and Murno needs to try and find his rhythm again. He's been a little bit put off. Polens has been doing his best to be a distraction and get his nose in places. Make Murno look in his mirrors and think about where he's going to make the move. Through Maggots and Beckett's we go. Seems like he's got enough this time around to hold off. A little respite for the Wellington Straight. Now, last points position. Denny Vella has one stop to this race. And this is what it's all for. It's for the final points paying position. Can Alexander Knezovic make the move? Question from another driver who's raced this season in WMSC, Gonzalez Tivo. Is he still on lean? I have no idea. Question is that thing we do know is he's going to have much better tyres than Denny Vella. So in that respect, he should be able to get the move done. As we saw earlier, Vella certainly no slouch at defending on used tyres. Knežević scored points on his debut for Cesario last time. He could score points again, and Villami is up in 7th with a shot at making it a double points finish for Cesario. Beta Julia had only one representative last time, and that was Victor B in a super sub role. They only managed a point. Bella and Benton Reed are back. Looks like they are going to miss out on points today. Well, maybe not. We'll see if Bella can hang on. If Knežević is fuel saving, though, that is obviously going to hamper him. Obviously, to score points, he will have to try and get to the end. Both flying it through, and there's looks a little bit more together. That lack of grip in Bella's car showing on the exit of Beckett. DRS open, Knežević round the outside of Stowe, and he swoops round and into the final points position. Denny Vella's one-stop gamble might just not have paid off. It's a valiant effort, though, it has to be said. And worth trying. If you feel like it's not really going your way, you need to try something different. Absolutely to be applauded, but hasn't worked. And in the meantime, the timing tower threw me for just suddenly threw Filip Puška up and made me think Poland's had made a move. Apologies. No change of position yet. Still less than a second between Poland's and Murno. They've just come out of Luffield. Time running out for Poland's to make a move. Definitely seems like everyone is on just the two-stop race. No one going for it. Managing their times down, to be honest. Times are still in the high 28s, low 29s. Oh, and is this a tactical move? Dylan Fisher has let Reuven Meshida through. Meshida quite a few points back because he didn't join the championship until round 5, but has been on an absolute charge, having won the last 2 rounds of the championship. But that tactical switch, there's still a hope. They are still hoping Reuven Meshida can get into this fight in the remaining rounds of this championship. And Dylan Fisher plays the team role and lets him through. Really unfortunate for Reuven Meshida this afternoon. In the box seat, potentially to win. The first ever 3-time winner. Sorry, not the first ever 3-time winner, but the first ever to win 3 back-to-back. Not going to happen. He will tie the record with Volborn. Volborn, in the meantime, on track for becoming the first 4-time winner in this competition. Pascal Poland's just trying to fight his way past Brno. Holland Team Racing very comfortable in the constructors, but Optimal have been incredible in the past few rounds. Last 2 races, they've managed 2nd, 1st, 3rd, and 1st. Fisher and Meshida. They've put together the team playing consistency that Holland have put through for most of the season. So, Poland's will still want to get past, pick up the points just to make sure Holland Racing Team get the job done. If anyone fancies doing some quick maths for me to look at the current gap and how many points are left for Holland, they might be very close for winning it. And oh my goodness, Filip Puška is in the garage. The main World Championship contender has just disconnected. I cannot believe it. Running in 6th place, Filip Puška has just had a disconnect, and that is going to be a huge help for Janis Volborn. So close to the end of the race as well. That's going to be heartbreaking for Filip Puška. Yes, he would have lost ground on Volborn today, but he was still in the points, on for 6th place. But that's so unfortunate. You know, when we talk about mechanical issues, In sim racing, there's just a whole other dimension of mechanical issues. You can have the virtual ones and you can have the physical ones. Not only can your car overheat, so can your PC. Not only can your engine fail, so can your Wi-Fi. And that is really unfortunate. Oh, and apparently he's had issues all the way through the race, which might explain his lack of competitiveness and kind of just in that holding sixth position, because he is usually a little bit more racy. That is such a shame for him. So, it could be a perfect day for Yanis Volborn, who is already on his final lap. 11 seconds clear of Ruben Meshida. The biggest action on track, though, is going to be, can Pascal Polens get a move done at the minute? They've caught Aaron Curtis at a very interesting time. Opportunity now for Murno to get the DRS off his teammate to defend. Ooh, there was a last-minute look from Polens there. We'll try and bring you Volborn crossing the line and this battle. The big opportunity is going to be down the hangar straight into Stowe. Polens has just got to pace himself and wait for his moment. Doesn't need to get too close through cops. Needs to have a clean and tidy Maggots and Beckett's to get the move done. Looking good. Gap is going up though. He just has to fight the dirty air and the design of the car. I don't think he's going to be close enough. But one man who is certainly close enough and has gotten the job done, Yanis Volborn, our first four-time winner in the WMSC, and he takes a big step towards the title. In the meantime, Ruben Meshida recovers to second place with a bit of team play with Dylan Fisher. So unlucky for Meshida. Heart goes out to him because it was just an unfortunate racing incident in which either could have come off worse. Murno hangs on for fourth ahead of Pascal Polens. Paolo Villami, in the meantime, an excellent sixth place in the making here. Scuderia Cesare, it's going to be a double points finish. And due to Pushka's heartbreaking late disconnect, Denny Vella, the one... Oh no! No, Denny! The one-stop king! He keeps it going. There is unfortunately a healthy gap back to Victor B. And he crawls across the line. Denny, come on. I was about to give you prop you up then. But Yanis Volborn did everything right. Got it on pole. And with an incredible fight all the way through. It's a shame that their contact on lap 20, unfortunately, ended that battle a little bit prematurely. As we watch Yanis on the cooldown lap, we'll try and get him in for an interview. But there are the provisional results for the race at Silverstone. Yanis Volborn wins from Ruben Meshida and Dylan Fisher. Double podium for Optimal. Lucas Murno does an excellent job to hang on for fourth. Poland's fifth. Villami and Knezovic, an excellent double points for Cesario, sixth and seventh. Denny Vella in eighth. Victor B, who seems has been pretty far away, has managed to come home ninth in the end in his debut for SCMM. Benton Reader in 10th, a lap down. And Aaron Curtis, Matthias Machado, Philip Pushka and Philip Fekler round out the results. Pushka and Fekler DNF'd. Also worth noting, Jeffrey Fournier as well, also DNF'd, a double DNF for Basilia, so technically it would be Fournier in 14th, Fekler in 15th, with a slightly controversial ending there. With us, and we will get the race winner Yanis Volborn in, hopefully. But what a fantastic race from Silverstone. Two very finely balanced teams in Holland and Optimal. Strengths and weaknesses at opposing parts of the track that made for some very engaging battles. Yanis Volborn comes out on top. Just for everyone to come in from the cool down lap. And we will hopefully get Yanis in with us in a second. Once again, thank you to everyone who's joined us throughout the stream this afternoon. Very much appreciated. My first solo trip. Been a lot of fun, albeit in a very muggy room. Thankfully, we've had a very entertaining race this afternoon. Yanis Volborn very much putting himself in the box seat to become the first ever WMSC champion. Thank you, Remy. Much appreciated. Thanks, Robin. Thanks for sticking with us. I'm glad you stuck with us by the pool. Go for a swim in just a second. While we're waiting for Yanis, so obviously excellent result for Pascal Polens, returning after missing last time at Portimao. Previous result before Portimao was Germany coming home fourth. Comes home fifth today, helping Holland Team Racing move ever closer to that constructors. In fact, I might have a moment here to try and work out how far off they are indeed. Not sure. We've still got Yanis in the server. I'm just unfortunately not able to bring him in. We will see if get him through the usual channels. You know, a Discord server. So next time out, we are in Monza, which should be fun, and it's going to be me and Robin all the way to the end of the season. Got a thumbs up from Yanis to see if I can get him in the channel. Just like that, there he is. Yanis Volborn, our race winner today. Congratulations. Thank you for joining us. How was that for you? Does it look like a very closely fought battle, especially in the first phase of the race?
Yeah, it was very tough. Keep Rufen behind. He's got massive pace through the corners.
Yeah, it looked like your car and Optiminal's car very much strong and weak in different parts of the circuit. Was it quite difficult? Would you say to try and, if you been behind for much longer, to get the move done? Because obviously you've got the straight line speed. He seems to have the corners. Or do you feel like you had the quicker overall package today?
I'm not really sure. I think the cars were pretty equal here in terms of lap time. Yeah, I wanted to do the move as quickly as possible. Get back to P1 and then the one Kostek car, was it, I think, came, and then I thought that's my opportunity, and then I just tried to get past.
Absolutely. So it ended up being the better Julia of Denny Vella, I think you were trying to get past, essentially, because he was still technically racing for position, but on obviously a lot older tyres. And then obviously you had that unfortunate contact on lap 20, which very much just a racing incident, very unfortunate. How did you kind of see it? Was it a case of, just a bit of going for the same space? Was there a bit of understeer? Was there just a lack of room given? How do you kind of judge that incident?
Yeah, after the race, Ruben came to the channel and apologized that he braked too late, and yeah,
Oh, I see.
it's all okay.
Oh, that's good. Well, that's very good to hear. That's great to hear that's gets settled properly and nicely. We were guessing throughout the race about if it would be like a potentially a 3-stop. How bad were the tires towards the end of that longer stint?
Which was still okay for me.
Okay.
Yeah, a bit sliding on the rear, but yeah, you have that every lap, so it's not really that much of a difference. Just in lap time, it's just got a bit slower, but it was still okay.
That's great to hear. And obviously, next time out, Monza very much track that your car and your team should be very strong at. You're the first 4-time winner. Thanks to Pushka's unfortunate late disconnect, you're now 12 points clear in the championship. I imagine you're feeling pretty confident going into Monza.
Yeah, that win here is a boost, especially after last race, where my motivation was very much, yeah, was completely away. Yeah, so yeah, really looking forward to Monza now. A strong car, hopefully.
Absolutely fantastic recovery. Congratulations, Yanis, and well done.
Yeah, thanks. Also, big thanks to Pascal.
Thank you very much. And that is your afternoon's racing entertainment. Thank you so much for joining us all the way through. Next time, as mentioned, it is going to be a trip to Monza, the Autodrome of Speed, and it's going to be a lot of fun indeed. We expect a very strong Holland Racing Team car. Optimum also pretty quick as well. Will they have something to fight back with, or will Yanis Walborn get closer to the first ever WMSC title? Be me and Robin for you next time. But between now and then, take care, and thank you so much for watching.